Welcome back to action from the 24th Passion for Speed and now into the Marlboro Crane High Legends of the 9 Hour. These production cars are the ones that a lot of people make their way out to Zwartkops every year to see what's going to happen with the big bangers here at Zwartkops. We're talking about the size of blocks of flat, some of these cars. It's really awesome to see. And looks like there's going to be another phenomenal battle at the front end. Nicky Pastorelli is back again. He's going to be fighting hard with the usual contenders in Ben Morgenroot and the two Du Toit brothers. But keep an eye out on Seferi Jr. as well. You could throw in a mix. Ben Morgenroot will be in the mix as well. And great to have Sarel van der Merwe here. Unfortunately, not driving this year, but a legend nonetheless. It's the Toys 1 and 2 on the front row. Behind that, you can see them starting to line up and looking pretty rapid. Here's Henny Groenewald in a little Ford Escort RS 2000. He's going to be looking to try and run amongst those big V8s. Pastorelli is side by side there as they go down towards turn 1 with the hard charging Seferi. As I said, in that car, watch out for Feri. Just in the background as well, keep an eye out on Michiel Campagna. He's in the Barracuda. And halfway through that pack, also watch out for the maneuvering coming from Terry Wolford in the Chevelle. He'll be looking for a way to just keep out both Paige Lindenberg there in 23 and behind her, or now in front of her as they come out of that turn, Ben Morgenroot. So Du Toit's 1 and 2. It's Ford versus Chevy as they head through turn 4 for the first time. That's a new car to the series as well. Great to see James Temple getting out of his 45-minute endurance car and now climbing into the newly prepared Capri Piranha from Lindenberg Racing. He's got Pastorelli closing in on him though, under braking up towards turn 5. Then it's Henny G in the big giant killing Escort. He's ahead of the Black Widow piloted by Lee Thompson. Ben Morgenroot coming along for the ride. Colin Ellison joining that party. The Corvette in the background as well. Keep an eye out on that very fast car. That little Chevy Corvette there piloted by one of our Dutch competitors. And of course looking for a fantastic run there is Frans van Em. Looking for a way through here though is Seferi. He's side by side and looking for a way around the outside of turn 1. That's a difficult maneuver to pull, particularly at this stage of a race where these cars are starting to slip and slide because of the temperatures they're racing under. Never mind how old the cars are, but a great move nonetheless. Sees him sneak up there in the Mercury Cougar up into second place ahead of Jonathan Du Toit. So we got Fords 1 and 2. The Thunderbolt Fairlane out front ahead of the Mercury Cougar. And look at the way... Oh, watch out. In the background, I was picking up on Nicky Pastorelli. Pastorelli came out of turn 2, catch the corner, lit up, trying to close down on the back end of Jonathan Du Toit. There you can see all on his own sim. Here's the RS 2000 Escort of Henny G. Lee Thompson with Ben Morgenroot hunting him down now. Morgenroot looking for a way past and not going to be made easy there by that big Black Widow, particularly in the hands of Lee Thompson. He knows how to get around this track, that is for sure. And he'll know exactly how to place the car, but unfortunately didn't place it right as Morgenroot dives through in the slightly more nimble, and probably a little bit less weighty machine there in the Morgenroot Auto Mustang. As they come out of turn 7. Oh, he has a turn up for the books, possibly a turn up for the lead as well. Late dive down into turn 8, and we've got a new leader. Seferi hits the front. He takes the lead from Mark Du Toit, who now slots back into second place, right into the clutches of his brother once again in that Chevy Nova. And here comes Pastorelli. I did mention, watch out for him. The big block of flats at Ford Galaxy, diving through into turn 2 and getting past. Has he got through? Yes, he has. Makes a move there on Jonathan Du Toit and sneaks past. Frans van Em taking on the Dutch contingent out there with Ellison in the mix as well. Ellison closing things down there ever so slightly there with James Temple. They're both closing down there on Hammond van Putten and on Frans van Em. But out front, it's Seferi. And he's got a real turn of pace here now that he's at the front. Pulled about 2 or 3 car lengths now ahead of Mark Du Toit. Du Toit watches his rearview mirrors and all he can see is that massive machine coming from behind. I can tell you something, that is a car to watch out for. Checkered flag comes out, and I think in the second race we're going to see big action between those 4 yet again. Finishing up though, it's Seferi Jr. ahead of Mark Du Toit, Nicky Pastorelli and Jonathan Du Toit. Henny Groenewald in the Escort in 5th place beats Ben Morgenroot and Lee Thompson. Frans van Em beats out Jonty Needham and Terry Wolford in the top 10 in the Chevelle. Let's catch up with one of those giant killers, Henny G in the Ford.
Yeah, we had a little 2-litre Escort mixing with the V8, so it was a lot of fun. But yeah, pretty difficult. There's no substitute for horsepower, so it felt like I was going backwards for most of the race. But yeah, I think the most excitement was that first race being around the V8s, and enjoyed a few laps and could mix in between them.
Nice run from Nicky Pastorelli and Pablo Clark Racing in the Ford Galaxy.
We're happy to be able to drive this great car. fast car. It was a good race, it was a fun race. We started on P6, finished on P2 in the end. It was a bit of a hustle at the start with some touching here and there where I lost a little bit of time, but we were able to catch up during the race, making up all the positions to finish on P2 in the end. We're now waiting for the second race where we are trying to make up another spot and try to win it.
Well, they're not easy to drive. They're a lot of fun to drive, but they're not easy. They're tanks. I mean, they weigh in between 1.3 ton and 1.6 ton, the various cars. Only semi-slick, so, and a lot of horsepower. And the track conditions aren't good today. There's a lot of oil spillages and the temperature. So yeah, it's fun.
Fun in the sun with these cars. I'm not quite sure if CF Jr. is watching the same race we're watching. It's 35 degrees Celsius and race 2 is about to kick off here at Zwartkops International World of Motoring. You'll see CF having to come right from the back of the pack now as Mark du Toit leads things out down into turn 1. It's line astern until they come out of turn 2 where we get the green flag. We'll keep an eye out on the pressure that's coming from the back end amongst the Dutch contingent as well as the South Africans, and the Italian is putting pressure on right from the word go there. Pablo Clark's Galaxy into second place behind Mark du Toit. On the outside comes Michiel Campagne. He's got Ben Morgenroot up for company. That's where they get the green flag. This is where we actually go racing. Coming out of turn 3, Pastorelli looking to dive on the inside early on to get through on Mark du Toit. He's not going to give du Toit any chance to get away from him this time. He wants the Galaxy to be out front, and there's massive pressure right from the word go there. The du Toit is basically sandwiching that big Pablo Clark Ford Galaxy. Unfortunately, under braking there, you can see much better line coming from Pastorelli, finding a way through early on. That's exactly what he needed to do. He needs to dictate the pace, not allow Mark du Toit to do that. Thompson up to 4th, getting through there on the Corvette. And then look at this battle. Here comes Jeffery from the back of the pack, putting pressure onto Randfontein's finest there, Ben Morgenroot. Terry Wolford's joined the party. He's in the Chevelle in that mix as well. There are 4 cars fighting hard, and there we go. The headlight flying off that massive Mercury Cougar, touching the back end of Ben Morgenroot, and he's saying, hey, I'm sorry we played the game. Ellison was leading that little battle for now, but he now loses out as Morgenroot hits the front, and here comes the Mercury Cougar of Fourie Jr. diving through into turn 1. This is a fantastic fight. 4 of them all in the mix here, looking for a way past and looking for a possible top 5. This is what exactly everybody here at Zwartkops has come to watch. This is certainly the highlight of the day. These big bangers hold nothing back. And by the time they get to about 3rd or 4th lap, they start to slip and slide a bit more. Lee Thompson will tell you all about that. Here comes Ben Morgenroot, trying to find a way through there on the Corvette. Can he do it into turn 4? Yes, he can. Nice move there, trying to find a way through, and Frans van Em has to give him room to lie him past. He shuts the door, though, on Fourie. Fourie going to have to go the long way around at the top of the hill, and Ellison might just follow him through. Late braking from CF gets through on Frans van Em, and he hangs on now to what is about 6th or 7th place on the road with Ellison putting pressure on. Oh, there you go. Problem. Something broke on the Mercury on the straightaway, and he just went left and into the barrier. I think he forced that barrier almost into the front end of Gazoo Racing. That's how hard he hit the wall. But fortunately, looks like he's okay. Well, maybe possibly look at that a little bit. Oh, but look at what's happening at the front end. Jonathan du Toit has decided it's time to catch his brother. He wants to go hunting for Pastorelli, and he's not going to give him any room to play there, is Mark du Toit. Safety car has been deployed. Let's have a look and see why. As they come out of turn 5, you can see just runs out, and suddenly brakes. He goes left, and watch the barrier. Bang! That's about 3 tons of vehicle moving the barrier into the Gazoo Racing enclosure. So speaking of Gazoo, it's the Gazoo Racing and Pretoria Toyota Corolla that comes out. And the safety car has been deployed to bring these cars back into formation as we try and recover the Mercury Cougar out of harm's way. Thompson there in 4th place. Ben Morgenroot in 5. Ellison is 6. As they come down the hill, you'll see Frans van Em. Just behind him is Terry Wolford. Closing onto Wolford is James Temple, and then it looks like Herman van Putten. So are we going to finish under safety? Yes, unfortunately we're going to finish under safety car because they could not get that car out of harm's way in time. So across the line, and that wraps up our Marlboro Crane Hour Pre-66 Legends of the 9-hour production cars. Pastorelli winning the second heat ahead of du Toit, Mark and Jonathan. Lee Thompson in 4th beats out Ben Morgenroot, Colin Ellison, Frans van Em, and a great effort from Terry Wolford, James Temple and John T. Needham to wrap up the top 10. I think it's about time we caught up with Jonathan du Toit.
In the Nova, I had a good qualifying again. Maybe yesterday was a better day than today. But yeah, I mean, first race finished 4th, second race, yeah, just missing that little bit. So I finished 3rd.
While we're down there, let's catch up with his brother Mark now in the Ford.
366 race, had a great race, had a really fantastic first heat in the fair lane, finished 2nd. I was very excited for that. Second race, also was in 2nd when the safety car came out. Bit unfortunate that we finished under safety car, but yeah, nonetheless, I really enjoyed my day.
The final bit of coverage for Passion for Speed 24th edition comes from Red Star Raceway as the double header heads to Delmas. And a nice big crowd has come out here to support the event as well. They're looking forward to seeing battles in amongst our ISPs, Trans Ams, and a couple of other classes all intermixed here as we get ready to go now for the first heat. Colin Ellison will be looking to try and get to the front end as quickly as possible, but to see that McLaren here at Red Star, remember there's a 1 kilometre straight for that McLaren to open up its guts and really show you what it's capable of doing. He's got to try and find a way early on. Steve Clark is keeping him honest. There's a big contingent of Cobras that have come all the way from KwaZulu-Natal as part of the backdraft class here in this category. Mike Mack in there as well in 4th place, and the turbocharged machine under attack early on from that Can-Am, and that McLaren has now hit the front. And watch as he comes out of the triple left-hander at turn number 5, heading down towards the hairpin. Steve Clark trying to close onto the back end of the turbocharged machine just out front, but there you go. There's no replacement for displacement. That's exactly what we say when these big cars get a chance to open up and put the pedal to the metal. And Michiel Campagna is doing just that, to try and get away from this nice field of cars all in the mix. Du Toit in the Lola, just behind that T70 Spider is not too far behind. Ariga having a fantastic battle there with the Shield Golf. And I can tell you something, there's a nice, as I said, array of machinery in amongst the saloon cars, the Cobras, and the ISPs. This is a nice one here from Labochki in the Shield Golf 1, trying to get onto the back end of Ariga. Ariga had to start a little bit further back there in that space frame machine, but he's now pulled away ever so slightly there from that Shield Golf. And Wayne Labochki looking for a chance to try and get up as high as possible in the saloon car class. Gary Stacey having some fun and games with a couple of other Fords further back. That's a Sorrel van der Merwe replica that he runs in the Ford Cortina colours there for Team Ford out of the sort of late 70s and into the 80s. That car ran. And there's a move up into possibly 2nd place there for Du Toit. Yeah, the T70 has found a way through there on that Lexus turbocharged car that's being piloted there all the way from KwaZulu-Natal. He might lose out here on the straight though to the additional power of the turbo, or will he? Under braking, Du Toit is good on the brakes. Difficult man to pass, and there you have it. Hangs on. Problems there for Adrian Dalton. He's run off at turn 6 at the hairpin. But a welcome return there for him, and that's major problems there for the 777 Ford Escort. I think they might keep it under safety car there. Pushkevez has gone off as well in his Porsche 911 RSR. And I think we might we won't need a safety car. They've kept it under double yellows just to ensure that the race continues on. And a little bit of pressure now coming from Mark in the closing stages, realizing that Campagna rolled out ever so slightly, seeing a whole bunch of yellow flags, and possibly thinking to himself, oh, we're going to get a safety car. It's allowed Mark Du Toit to close that gap down, and Du Toit now wants to try and find a way through here. This is certainly a battle that a lot of people would love to have seen and are seeing right now. And that's exactly why these cars have come to Red Star Raceway, to give you this kind of action. Watch for the additional power here, possibly coming out of the McLaren to get away from Mark, but he'll try and get under that wing if he can. He's not quite close enough to use the slipstream, but you can't use the slipstream when the car pulls away from you like that. But under braking, the T70 Spider is very good. Coming to the checkered flag, Mark Du Toit trying to find a way through there. Michiel Campagna has to just keep it in the middle of the road, and that machine is so big that Du Toit is going to have no opportunity to get past. Du Toit pulls out and almost comes side by side, but Michiel Campagna hangs on for the win and takes the victory in the ISPs ahead of Mark Du Toit. Denver Branders wins out the backdraft Cobras. Dirk Lawrence wins out the saloon cars. Good effort there from Stevie Clark and Mike Mack. Richard van Heerden. Ariga in the space frame up into 8th. Beats up Waylon Falchink in the BMW and Wayne Robb in the ST Focus. Straight into race 1 now out of the production cars, and Pre-66 and 68 legends of the 9-hour production cars in with a couple of saloon cars in the mix as well, and one of them is that R100. Sieferi resumes his battle at the front end as he did a weekend ago at Zwartkops, where he was the car to beat. And you can see he's now having a little bit of trouble from a Mazda R100 that's not usually there. Vanna Kotze having a phenomenal run here to give the big Mercury Cougar a bit of trouble. Behind that, it's Temple, then Ben Morgenhout. Watch out for that man coming through there, Pushkevez in the Porsche. We saw him off earlier on. He's got it back up and running. Gerard Henning, what a run there from that little Sirocco, is right on the tailpiece of Ben Morgenhout. Frans Van Em in the Corvette fighting there with Sean Hepburn. Hepburn with the AA colours has to stop. Remember, if any car breaks down, it's one of the reasons he's got that sponsorship. But he's now about to be caught and passed by Herman van Putten. A little bit of issues there on his car. You can see the right window coming out of that car ever so slightly. Just maybe caused him a little bit of an issue under braking, which allowed Hepburn to sneak through again in that Datsun 1200 GX. Frans Van Em in that Corvette. This, of course, is the car that was originally in orange colours when it arrived in South Africa initially. It was, of course, owned by Michiel Campagna, and France bought it from him and then redid the colours. Spinner, is that Dirk Venter? It is. Venter getting it out of shape there. Coming into the chicane, onto the main straightaway, just ahead of the Flamingo of John ten de Charte. Herman van Putten has now caught the back end of Ben Morgenhout. So it's the fastback Mustang taking on the 387 Mustang there of Ben Morgenhout. Venter under attack now from the Renault Gordini. And you can see Bishop is going to have a little bit of trouble there of his own if he's not careful, because ten de Charte is bringing that little GSM Flamingo along for the ride. Parked on the sideline, I saw the Lotus Cortina of Ollie Broom. And that one was, of course, piloted this weekend by George Economides. There is Broom in the Chevy SS, so the KwaZulu-Natal man has stuck around for both weekends. And, the Mercury Cougar stuck on the sideline as well. So Sief Fourie Jr. out of this first heat in the Mercury Cougar. That's a big loss. It has allowed this man, Gerard Henning, to get to the front and has got away from the whole pack of very, very fast cars in an exceptionally consistent car there coming out of Yanni's garage. Gerard Henning taking the victory. Looks like Temple's going to hang on for second. Is that Broom in third? It is, ahead of Toy. So Ollie Broom getting the SS just ahead of that Ford. Let's get the official results as they come up. Henning taking it from Temple. Ollie Broom and Mark Toy. Stefan Pushkevez in fifth place. Beats out Colin Ellison. Ben Morgenhout hung on to beat out Johan Goos. A good effort there from the man. And then Hepburn ahead of the hard-charging Paige Lindenberg. Let's catch up now with race winner Gerard Henning.
It was quite hectic. It's very, very fun to be here. I was late this morning. And yes, it's very, very great to race here. It was awesome, tight racing. And yes, I enjoyed the car. Thanks to Manny for always building a lucky engine. And yes, here with my wife Linda, and just enjoy all the people around us.
Straight into race 2 now. Good to see that Lotus Cortina back in the hands of George Economides. It's been fixed in between the two heats and we'll be looking to go to battle. Ishmael Beloy at the back, Clive Winterstein in the Porsche, Carl Brink in the Mini, and just alongside them as well, Stuart McClarty, the birthday boy. But side by side at the front end, Temple seems to have got the advantage, holds on to the whole shot coming out of turn 1. He's got race 1 winner on his tail there in Henning, side by side with Broom on the outside in the SS. And welcome back to the party, the Mercury Cougar of Sief Fourie Jr. It's probably going to have a little bit of extra squirt on the straight to get past those two cars just ahead of him. So he'll probably hang tight as they come out of turn 4 and have a go on the short straight. Mark Toy is also back into the mix. A little bit further back though, and a bit of work to do there for the Ford Fairlane. He comes side by side with a similar coloured machine there of Stefan Pushkevez. Ellison tucked in behind that, then Morgenhout. The 24 karat gold Sirocco is Goos as they come onto the short straight. Henning now trying to hang on to at least that top 3 spot to give him the overall victory of the day. He's in second place at the moment behind Sief Fourie. And here comes Pushkevez putting the pressure onto the second of the Siroccos there of Johan Goos. Goos, as I said there, from Keller Williams, doing an amazing job in that new car of his. And he's trying to just keep out Pushkevez for now. Toy hangs on to the back end, only just. He's trying to reel them in inch by inch. The car's just ahead of him, but he's also watching in the background for potentially a threat coming from the second of those Fords in the hands of Ellison. So it's the SS of Broom ahead of Morgenhout, then the 2 Fords and the Porsche versus the Sirocco. That little 1800 Sirocco really having his work cut out for him, heading into what is turn 11 onto the back straight. Ellison gets the back end stepped out, catches it and now puts the power down. The Porsche, flat 6, going to try and get through now. Can he find a way past on Goos? Morgenhout's through on the SS, so Morgenhout moves up ahead of Ollie Broom. Broom must be reveling in this. Can you imagine what it would be like to go head to head in cars of a similar nature here, with Ben Morgenrud at the wheel of one and New at the wheel of the other. Ollie Broom has got an amazing array of cars down in KwaZulu-Natal, and he's brought two of them along for the ride here this week and last week. The one is the SS, and I mentioned it earlier on, that Lotus Cortina of Economides further back in the back. No one's going to catch the Cougar though. Didn't think if there were any problems that they'd be able to. He might just catch McClarty before the line. Yes, he does. The Escort XR3 gets caught by the Mercury Cougar, and it once again is Henning in second place. That'll give him possibly overall victory for the day there, with that second spot behind Sefery Jr. Ben Morgenrud in third, Temple in fourth. Beats out Ollie Broom and Mark Totoy, Ellison, Pushkevez, Johan Goos and Jaap van den Ende up there in 10th place. Let's catch up now with race winner Sefery Jr.
I made up everything by lap 1, and then I just kept the pace not to run out of brakes, because the car is 1600 kilograms. There's 16 corners, so the brakes don't last. But I managed to do it and keep the pace, and bring the win home. Hope the spectators loved it.
I think they certainly did. The 24th Passion for Speed is now done and dusted. Make sure you've got your dates in your diary for the 25th anniversary edition in 2026. All this action from the 24th Passion for Speed was proudly brought to you by Marlboro Crane Hire and Zwartkops International World of Motoring.